What is up, XRP community? Welcome back to another video. Thank you for joining me. I want to talk about this article, 4 Signs Bitcoin is Starting its Next Bull Run, which obviously is related to all cryptocurrencies. A rising tide raises all ships. And then a 2016 conference talking about revisiting Bretton Woods. Bretton Woods was the conference back in the 40s, about 100 years ago, that established the gold standard in the US dollar as the world reserve currency. But they had a backup plan back in the 40s, and they talk about it at this conference in 2016, and it's what I believe the future global financial system will look like. And I could see XRP at the center of it. And then a great interview from a former Swift GPI employee. Guess where she works now? Not Swift. She works at Ripple, and she talks about how Ripple's disrupting. That's one of the reasons I'm so bullish on Ripple. You have ex-Swift employees, ex-SEC employees, the 43rd Treasurer of the United States, and many, many more intelligent people leaving their illustrious careers to go work at Ripple as a startup. And you got to ask yourself, why is that? What do they see there? Obviously, there's potential, and this disruption is something that's going to be in the history books down the road. If you guys want $41 for free, it's actually $61 until November 8th. Just sign up with Webull, deposit 1 penny, and you're guaranteed $61 in free stocks for depositing 1 penny. Sell your stocks, close your account, get some XRP. Check out Webull in the video description below. So what's going on with Bitcoin? As the chances of the Bitcoin ETF being approved rise, 6-figure Bitcoin price predictions are already becoming increasingly common, and the halving for Bitcoin is 180 days away. The next halving event is in April 2024, and traditionally, bull runs can start months before and continue until the price of Bitcoin reaches a new all-time high. This guy says the cyclical nature of Bitcoin is hard to deny. Significant stakeholders are showing confidence in Bitcoin by increasing their holding. On-chain analytics have revealed a trend reversal, wherein major investors are trading stable coins for more Bitcoin. Typically, you hold stable coins during a bull market because they're stable. So we're seeing people liquidate their stables to buy Bitcoin. More importantly, Bitcoin whales, or entities with at least 1,000 Bitcoin, are showing signs of accumulation. So if you have 1,000 Bitcoin, you're a multi-millionaire. And this is what we call smart money. And these people are loading up their Bitcoin. Glassnode data shows Bitcoin's accumulation trend score is currently 1, chart above, indicating that on aggregate, larger whale entities, which are a big part of the network, are accumulating. Additionally, smaller entities have set accumulation records, breaking new highs throughout 2023. And about the Bitcoin ETF, Bloomberg ETF analysts have upgraded the likelihood of a Bitcoin ETF approval to 65%. If approved, such an ETF could attract more institutional investors into the space and positively impact the cryptocurrency's price. Speaking of crypto, if you guys need a spot for XRP or Flare, I recommend Uphold. It's sleek, it's simple, it's secure. It's where I get my XRP daily. You can also find Uphold in the video description below. A quick tweet here from John Deaton. He says, as I've said for more than 3 years, Ripple is not going to abandon XRP. It has a fiduciary duty not to. Do the math. 2015, Series A valuation, 128 mil. 2016, Series B valuation, 400 mil. 2020, Series C valuation, 10 billion. And in 2022, the Series C buyback valuation, 15 billion. Last year, Ripple bought its Series C shares back at a 50% higher price. Ripple clearly believed investing $300 million on itself was the best investment available at the time. But Ripple did so during the worst crypto bear market we've experienced and before the Torres ruling. That took cojones. Now you see one of the reasons why I've said Brad Garlinghouse is arguably the MVP of crypto company CEOs. Ripple's pre-IPO shares, IPO is definitely in the future for Ripple, clearly trade at a valuation significantly less than $15 billion. Owning 50 billion XRP tokens makes it insane to abandon XRP. If XRP reaches $2, Ripple has an asset valued at $100 billion. And he quote tweets this thing from Ripple. Today, the Dubai Financial Services Authority, the DFSA, approved XRP under its virtual assets regime, allowing licensed firms in the Dubai International Financial Center to incorporate XRP into their virtual asset services. And just a few days ago, we also had Singapore doing the same thing, giving firms permission to use XRP. There was a license, the MSP license in Singapore. Dubai, Singapore, these are the financial hubs of the world, and it's good to see they're not following suit of the USA and they're actually welcoming innovation. So this article I talk about a lot, but this is the Bretton Woods conference. Bretton Woods at 75, celebrating the IMF and World Bank turning 75 years old. And the panel discussion is rethinking international cooperation. The focus was on how the US dollar as the world reserve currency is something that's not optimal for the global financial system. Obviously in 2023, with the crazy inflation in US debt, we can see that now. But keep in mind, this was back in 2016. They knew what was knocking at the door. And they talk about how they can imagine a new expanded role for the IMF by adapting and modernizing some old ideas of the Keynes-Trifflin plan. I've talked about this many times. So the Keynes-Trifflin plan, an alternative set of proposal for international monetary institutions proposed by John Keynes at the Bretton Woods negotiations on post-war monetary arrangements in 1944. The Keynes plan would have involved the creation of an international monetary unit. Maybe this is XRP, but it's not going to be a sovereign unit like the dollar. It's going to be a new global currency called the Bancor. The plan was rejected and the International Monetary Fund was set up on lines proposed by the US. The Bancor is a supranational currency. This newly created supranational currency would then be used in international trade as a unit of account within a multilateral clearing system. The International Clearing Union would also have to be founded. And if you read this whole article, just Google Ripple's connections with the IMF and central banks. It's clear that the IMF is going to be this international clearing union. Now, what is going to be the Bancor? What is going to be the supranational currency? I don't know, but XRP surely does solve that problem and would fit perfectly in that role. Here's an interview. Another good headline. Ripple's 6th CBDC pilot program with the National Bank of Georgia. Always good to see these positive developments. And here's the interview. This lady's name is Raquel, and she used to work at Swift GPI. This is from a few years ago. And she decided to work at Ripple. Take a listen.
Everybody, I'm sorry for this delay. My name is Marjan de Latin. I joined Ripple actually 10 months ago, and I used to work for Swift for more than a decade. And my last assignment was, I was responsible for GPI, that I'm sure you have heard about it. Changing the cross-border or transaction banking systems. Now coming back to Ripple, because I joined Ripple to disrupt, and I think that's the main objective of the Ripple. Ripple is a blockchain company. The vision of the Ripple is to create an ecosystem with a mission that we have, which is creating an internet of value. So when we look at the current landscape of exchanging data, which is happening over internet in a matter of seconds, payment still is going through a long-term cycle, 3 to 5 days for a simple cross-border transaction. So our vision, or the Ripple vision, is really making the payment, the transfer of the cross-border, as smooth as possible than the exchange of the data today over internet. That's in a nutshell what we are doing.
Okay, let's literally carry on with Ripple, because for me, I'm really curious to know what Ripple really is doing, because I'm reading many things about, just let me call the names, Ripple, XRP,
yes.
All those protocols. So what are they?
Yeah, I think it's a very good question, by the way, because there are lots of confusion about how these different elements get together in a kind of business model. So let's put it very simple. Ripple is, as I mentioned, this is a company, okay? XRP is a native asset that was even created before Ripple, and it was gifted to the Ripple for the cross-border payment. So XRP was really, the design of the XRP was to ensure that this could be used as a liquidity management tool in order to make cross-border transactions. Okay. Now a bit about the history of Ripple. Ripple started in 2012, and the first product was really using the digital asset, which is the XRP, with the consensus protocol. But this was not, the banks were not yet ready to really embrace this, because this was a big shift for a bank that it is highly dependent on the regulation to take an asset that it is not even possible to be part of the balance sheet. As a result of that, Ripple has created a new product which is called Interledger Protocol. And this Interledger Protocol is basically exchanging value based on a fiat currencies. So when we are talking now about Ripple and the banks that probably you hear about them, the adoption is no longer really using digital assets. It's using cross-border fiat currencies and exchanging values in an instant payment basis. We do have, of course, other products, and we see this take up now, especially with the payment providers, because obviously they are shorter in terms of the, let's say, capital, and the cost of still settling cross-border is very expensive. So they use the XRP or our native digital asset as a bridge currency to diminish actually the cost of the cross-border. But the banks today, they use Ripple for fiat currencies. That I think is very important to understand.
Okay, thank you. So